We have a serious update on Ben Askren. His wife, Amy, posted an emotional message on social media last night. She said, "I haven't heard an update because Ben has been in limbo for a while and I was hoping to have him wake up and be the one to decide what to share. I've had some media people contact me that they're going to share an update and I would rather it come from me. Ben is still fighting hard." Now, he's on a ventilator and ECMO machine, helping support his body while it tries to heal. Some days are better than others. On the good days, they've managed to lower his sedation enough for him to open his eyes and even squeeze hands. But his body is still too weak to be taken off sedation completely. Amy said, "I'm still praying for a miracle with his current lungs, but they are currently starting the evaluation process for a lung transplant." It's heartbreaking, but also hopeful. She added, "Please pray for his continued healing, and if transplant is the solution, that he can get on the list quickly and easily." She got emotional as she talked about how overwhelming it feels to imagine someone giving that kind of gift. "No one would take better care of that gift than Ben," she said. She also thanked everyone for their messages and support. Even though the situation is terrible, she said she still feels so blessed by the people around her. She reminded everyone to hug their loved ones and be prepared because things like this can hit out of nowhere. "Ben is the healthiest guy I know and I never could have expected this." Now let's move on to the fight announcements. There's a lot of action coming up and Dana White dropped some huge news about UFC Abu Dhabi next month.
What's up, everybody? UFC President Dana White here to talk to you about one of the most fight nights of the year, happening live and free on ABC, the network, July 26th from Etihad Arena in Abu Dhabi. Here we go. In the main event, we have number 5 ranked Robert Whittaker taking on Reinier de Ridder. Whittaker, former UFC middleweight champion, you all know he's been in some of the best fights in middleweight history and now intends on being the first guy to beat de Ridder in the UFC. De Ridder is a former middleweight and light heavyweight world champion and has finished every one he has fought in the UFC. He's coming off a win over the top prospect in the sport, Bo Nickel. If de Ridder can beat Whittaker, it's very likely he'll be fighting for the number 1 contender bout next. I am pumped for this fight because these guys are both killers and they always come out and deliver. In the co-main event, we have another 5-round fight between number 4 ranked MAJOR UFC taking on the guy most people consider to be the top free agent in the world, Aaron Pico. Evloev is undefeated at 19-0 and one of the most intimidating guys at featherweight. Aaron Pico is a ridiculously violent striker and a very high-level grappler. Pico has had hype behind him since he was a teenager because of his skill and fighting style, which people compare him to the likes of Justin Gaethje or Dustin Poirier. If MAJOR can get the victory, he will likely be the next contender for the title against Alexander Volkanovski. Expect this fight to be an absolute war. Just added, former UFC champion and number 3 ranked bantamweight in the world, Petr Yan, will be taking on the very explosive Marcus McGee, who earned this fight by going 4-0 in the UFC with 3 finishes and 3 post-fight bonuses. Also, Bryce Mitchell is making a big move down to the bantamweight division and will debut against the always dangerous Saeed Nurmagomedov, the cousin of Khabib. Sharapova is back and will fight Marc-Andre Barriault, which should be an incredible matchup. And top-ranked light heavyweight Nikita Krylov puts his 93% finish rate against the 100% finish rate of the absolutely terrifying Bogdan Guskov. Ladies and gentlemen, live and free on ABC, the network, July 26th from Etihad Arena in Abu Dhabi. I will see you there.
Starting off, we've got a reshuffle. Paulo Costa versus Roman Kopylov has been moved from UFC 317 to UFC 318. Reports initially claimed Costa pulled out due to illness, but on X he responded to someone asking, "Why you pull out?" And Costa fired back, "I didn't, I was reallocated monkey for business strategy." Classic Paulo. Hombre is hungry to bounce back after 2 tough losses, a submission to Paddy Pimblett and a brutal KO from Mauricio Rufy. Diego's also looking for redemption after losing by decision to Grant Dawson. Another exciting matchup. Edson Barboza is set to fight Drakkar Klose at UFC 319. Barboza recently lost to Lerone Murphy, while Klose is coming off a first-round KO defeat by Joel Alvarez. And here's some drama. Number 1 ranked middleweight Nassourdine Imavov is no longer the backup for the big fight between Dricus du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev. He tweeted, "No backup anymore. Conditions changed. You wanted to talk. Son, I'm here. I'm going to break you," he added, "KO Bahayo." KO clapped back instantly. Finally stopped hiding, huh? You don't call anything, you do what you're told. You tried to avoid this fight for so long and everybody knows that. Now, you will do exactly what I commanded. Fight me, I make the rules here. Say bye-bye to France. I'm sending you back to Dagestan. Meanwhile, Jamahal Hill is looking forward to his fight against Khalil Roundtree this weekend. He feels confident and believes he has the edge in the matchup. After suffering a TKO loss to Jiri Prochazka, Hill's fully focused on making his way back into title contention.
You know, he throws with a lot of power, a lot of ferocity. He likes to be very, very aggressive. He's kind of ruthless in the way that he comes at his opponents. So you got to be aware of that. But for me, he's got to worry about everything. You know, I have my own ferocity. I have my own, you know, speed. I believe I'm faster. You know, I'm the taller, longer fighter, and I believe I have more experience against better competition. Sweet Dream's back. Sweet Dream's coming back to form, getting back to that championship form, and just back to dominance. And so that's the main thing I look to get back to. You know, I've had me and Yuri had a fun war back and forth. You know, in that fight, and I mean, ultimately didn't turn out my way. But I'm looking to return to dominance to where I was before.
Elsewhere, Alex Pereira showed off that he currently weighs 243 pounds in
Foi em quilo da quanto, menino?
Caralho, mano.
Em quilo da quanto?
110 pra mais ainda, bro. So 43 big heavyweight size, bro.
De tênis, joia.
Heavyweight, bro.
Tênis, joia.
Tem peso pesado, patrão. Chama.
Other news, Conor McGregor is making headlines again, and not in a good way. Last night in Ibiza, he got into a physical altercation at a club. Footage released by The Sun shows Conor on a platform talking to a man. Suddenly, he throws a left hand while still holding his drink in his right hand. Then he throws another left, and it looks like he knocked the man out. There's another video too. This one shows Conor before the fight, filming himself and a friend in the mirror. He seems clearly intoxicated. It's still don't know what started the fight. Conor hasn't made a statement yet, but let's be real, with how things went down, a lawsuit is almost certain. We'll keep you updated as more info comes out. Switching gears, Islam Makhachev's coach, Javier Mendez, shared something interesting with Submission Radio. He said he thinks Islam will fight just 3 more times before retiring. Javier said, I'm anticipating we'll see Islam hopefully for maybe another 3 fights total. Let's see who's in the works on that if we get by JDM. Daniel Cormier gave his take too, saying fans should be concerned because when Khabib talked about retiring, he meant it and he never looked back.
Islam Makhachev might have 3 fights, including Jack Del Maddalena. That right there is where our energy should be spent as Islam fans. How in the world does it feel like another dominant champion may be saying it's about time? Why? Young, he's the world champ, he's dominating. He's getting an opportunity to become a double champ. Why? I think that we are in a time right now in fighting that for me as a fan is very sad. I don't believe for a second though that it's going to change, but when they all start to walk away, it's sad for the fan. But Islam only has 3 fights. It's scary to me because I know, knowing these guys, the only saving grace right now is that someone else is saying it for him and he has not said that himself. If Islam comes out and tells us, I've got 3 fights left, we should all go, man, we gotta lock in. We saw Khabib do it and he never looked back. That should be worrisome to us as mixed martial arts fans. We have so many more fights that we want these guys to fight. We want to see him against Jack Della. We want to see him against Usman, and we want to see him against Ilia Topuria. It's crazy.
Matt Brown also chimed in this week. He's got strong opinions about Francis Ngannou. According to Brown, Francis hurt his MMA legacy by leaving the UFC. Remember, Francis left after beating Cyril Gane and then went on to box Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. He lost to Fury in a close split decision and then got knocked out by Joshua in the 2nd round. Brown admitted Francis made a lot of money. maybe more than he would have made in 10 years in the UFC, but in terms of legacy, he believes Francis is now forgotten when it comes to heavyweight GOAT talks. Matt said, legacy-wise, I think it damaged his legacy tremendously. He added that if Francis had actually won those boxing matches, it would have helped him a lot. After that first fight with Fury, which many believe Francis actually won, things looked promising. But after the Joshua loss, the UFC basically moved on from him. Brown concluded, now everybody's asking if it was a mistake, but he made more money than he ever would have in the UFC. Was it a mistake on that part? No, but his legacy is going to suffer. He's not going to be in the talks for the best heavyweight ever, period. Alexander Volkanovski also gave his thoughts about Islam moving up to challenge Jack Della Maddalena at welterweight. Volk doesn't think it'll be easy for Islam. He pointed out how JDM just beat Belal Muhammad and managed to stuff a bunch of takedowns.
Islam Makhachev is going to be fighting Jack Della Maddalena. How do you think those two match up?
I think Jack's fight against Belal was a perfect fight for leading into that. Just purely, you take a lot out of stop and takedowns, because again, there's every fighter still going to have little doubts that are going to creep in. You know, I'm sure Jack was going through that, being like, all right, like, you know, worried about, you know, what if he takes me down and all that. But the fact that he was able to stop it and feel so comfortable, I guarantee you he's leveled up again. His confidence in his takedowns has just went up significantly leading into this fight. I think his confidence is going to be at a whole nother level. So through camp, like, I guarantee you, if he's back in training right now, people trying to take him down are going to find it almost impossible. You know, only the top guys are going to have a chance of taking him down, and they're going to have a very hard time even holding him down.
Meanwhile, Kamaru Usman is fired up. He talked to TMZ Sports today and stood by his challenge to Dricus du Plessis after his dominant performance over Buckley last weekend. Usman wants to fight the winner of the welterweight title bout between Jack Della Maddalena and Islam Makhachev. But that's not all. If he wins that belt, he plans to give it up and move up to middleweight. Usman explained, after getting the welterweight belt, they've asked and waited for years for me to go up and get the middleweight belt. I will relinquish that if Dricus du Plessis is still the champion. He's hyped about the idea of an all-African card, South Africa versus Nigeria, right in Africa. It's a rivalry that's been building forever, he said. If everything lines up, the next 18 months could be massive. And finally, Dana White jumped on the Jim Rome show and talked about the much-anticipated John Jones versus Tom Aspinall fight. But we still don't have concrete answers. Dana said John Jones has never turned down an opponent here or been afraid to fight anybody. We'll see how this thing plays out over the next couple weeks. If we can't get this fight done, we'll move on quickly. We'll have answers in the next couple weeks. Shortly after the interview aired, Tom Aspinall dropped a message on Threads. He posted, training for so many different opponents can be hard work. Trilogy against Blades, so yeah, it's clear. If Jones doesn't get locked in soon, Tom's ready for Curtis Blades next. The heavyweight division is heating up fast and things are going to get wild. That wraps up the news. Thanks for watching.